All right, yeah, you hit your eighth one last week. I'm still stuck on five. Why don't you go first and tell the people where you're going this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with it's a really, really short underdog. By the time you listen to this, they're either gonna be pick +1, -1. I'm gonna go with the Raiders here. I do think that I think that there's some injury variance that could work in their favor here. Second straight road game for the Patriots, who are banged up. And I just don't trust their offensive play calling right now. Last week, they got really fortunate against Arizona. I mean, Kyler Murray went down, and then Arizona just had no offensive line. It was
Hopkins
just
just
a
yeah, it was super careless with that. I mean, that changed the game when he fumbled that.
Yep. It was Arizona is a corpse. And like it was just a game where I think they quit. But yeah, so I think that the Raiders, who still have playoff hopes here, they're like in every game, and they've been up by 17 a bunch. And I'm just not a believer in this Patriots offense right now. And the defense is very up and down. Like their overall metrics are really good, but they'll have weeks where like they just don't look as good, and that's because of their youth. But on offense, look, you could be down Ramondre Stevenson. Damian Harris might still be out. Devontae Parker wasn't at practice today. What's his face? Jacoby
Myers.
Jacoby Myers could be out. Like they are banged up on offense. They have some injuries on the offensive line. So yeah, I think that I make the Raiders, like a 2-ish, a little over a 2-point favorite. With some of the injuries, because the Raiders also could get back Hunter Renfrow. They could get Darren Waller back, who both practiced today and came off IR. They need to basically win out to get to the playoffs, which is wild because we were saying this last year, like the Raiders are dead, but they somehow did. They got to the playoffs. So I think that maybe they'll still have hope. I remember how dead the Raiders were last
Yeah.
year, and they somehow got in the playoffs. So yeah, I think that they'll show up here, and I think that there's some value in going with the Raiders.
I mean, they've kind of done this all year. They lose these horrible games and then they come back and they win games after you kind of write them off. So, yeah, I don't
Weird
hate.
team.
Yeah, Patriots are all kinds of banged up. I'm actually going with the Arizona Cardinals +120 here against the Broncos. So this is kind of the time when I want to back the Cardinals. It's when they're on the road. Cliff is actually 14. The Cardinals are 14-8, straight up 64% on the road. Under Cliff Kingsbury. So it's the one time where they kind of exceed expectations. This Bronco team is super banged up too. Cortland Sutton looks like he's gonna miss another week. We already talked about Russell Wilson and even Kendall Hinton, who's been filling in at receiver. He's not practicing with a hamstring. So I mean, they could be down, and they're already down a bunch of running backs. They could be down a bunch of receivers. The one thing the Cardinals tend to do well is funnel the ball away from wide receivers. So I don't think Judy's going to put up another 3-touchdown game in this spot. And this Bronco team, I mean, it's they had the good game against the Chiefs, but Russ got injured along the way. I don't trust Brett Rippon to do the same. And I still think the Cardinals have enough talent, with Hopkins and guys like that, in what's essentially going to be a toss-up, low-scoring game here. I think the Cardinals get it done here, as they usually do on the road for whatever reason. So give me the Cards +120.
I might go under in a Broncos game again. I mean, with the way the defense is playing, both of these offensive lines, by the way, are a mess. They're going to have backup quarterbacks most likely. Like the Cardinals' offensive line is legitimately a horror show. And now you don't have Murray to run around. So I don't mind. Like this is a coin flip game. It's the script. Last week was the first game, but it was still the script. It was the Broncos losing a really close game. And that's probably they'll find a way to maybe lose another. This game could be like 9-6.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about, like, if Rippon's starting,
You got to worry about turnovers. Yeah, I mean,
but
you could also have turnovers like on the other side of the field. Yeah. But yeah, there's more turnover variance here.
Yeah, McCoy, the more likely, like McCoy, yeah, he'll just get it out quick and average like 5 yards an attempt. But still have Hopkins, still have Brown, you have some explosion for the Cardinals. So I think they'll get it done.
That would be the only thing I worry about with your Steelers Panthers under. Is there's just if you have Mason Rudolph, and then Darnold under pressure.
Well, that's why. Well,
You
that's
there's
why.
just more turnover variance, but that can work in your favor too. You get red zone turnovers just as
Yeah,
easily.
I mean that's why I like that game because I thought about this one as well. But the reason I like that one more is both of those teams have just been so run heavy as of late. So it's I just don't and just kind of the way the matchup sets up with those two coaches. I think they're gonna continue to they're gonna play a defensive kind of brand of football, whereas like Hackett and Cliff are both offensive coaches. So even though you do have like backup quarterbacks, you still could see, and teams they have nothing to play for. You could see some weirdness going on here. But all right, so if we parlay those two, we get about a little over a 3x payout. 100 gets you back 420, 320 plus the 100. So hopefully I can get back on the board. You've been over 500 on these to date.